All right, construction champions, it's your host, Ron Nussbaum, and we're here for another amazing episode of Construction Champions Podcast, where we're burning the damn house down. And like I said, it's not because you pissed a customer off, it's because we need to get better as an industry. And that house is your business, it's your personal life, it's your relationships, it's whatever's holding you back from being the champion that you were meant to be. And you guys don't show up for Ron Nussbaum. We've covered this plenty of times. You show up for our amazing guests. And today is no different. Dylan, it is great to have you here today.
Thanks, man. Flattering intro.
Well, I know you're going to be a wealth of knowledge for everybody listening out there. But before we dive into it, why don't you tell all the champions out there a little bit about yourself?
My name is Dylan Milroy. I'm just outside of Portland, Oregon. We run from Eugene up into Seattle, but really mostly Portland, Vancouver area down into Eugene is where we heavily focus. And I'm one of the owners of Better Basements and Waterproofing. So we do residential, heavy residential slanted waterproofing in existing construction. So retrofits.
Awesome, man. Well, I'm excited for today's conversation because I cut my teeth in the basement waterproofing industry. And I'm just excited that it fires me up when I have people around here that do something I'm very familiar with, even though we're probably not here to talk about it,
Yeah.
but we have that alignment. So I'm going to dive right in there and I'm going to ask the $1 million question. And that is, what makes a construction champion?
Introducing HomeTrack. We create digital new home profiles using homeowner specifications, pictures, and warranty policies, replacing the large paper binders normally provided by home builders to their buyers. We also digitize the final blue tape walkthrough and instantly create a punch list that both builders and homeowners can track until a resolution. By simplifying the handover process, we are saving home builders time and money.
Well, I came prepared for that question, shocker. And so I actually just went straight to one of our values, which is our business values, which is always seeking. I think it's and recently I've kind of driven it home even harder, even though I have no program or anything to sell, is that you need to be I always try to be the stupidest person in a room, in a group. We have a business. I have two coaches, and I was very against it, and it was very pushed onto me. And then it's been pretty life changing to have someone who's not only been where I am, but is where I want to be, and has also taken people where I want to go.
Mm,
So I think it's super important to constantly be refining and looking to better yourself.
I love that. I am a huge component of getting the right people around you,
Yeah,
figuring out who that is
yeah,
to go to the next level.
yeah.
I'd like to dive into some of that. Is I think your feelings on hiring a coach or having a consultant, whatever it looks like,
Yeah.
are pretty much the norm for anybody in the construction space. How do
Yeah,
you overcome that?
maybe I think it is maybe in our circles because we're trying to not stay small. We're trying to, take care of our employees and have more employees and make money while doing it. But I don't think it's the norm. The norm is, failure. So the norm is not doing well. But being in like a mastermind group and just having that ability to like bounce an idea off in a group of people is pretty amazing. And beforehand, you have a harebrained idea about a service or about an execution style, and you go down this rabbit hole for months and you're trying to figure it out. You're doing the math, you maybe even try to do it. And now you just type it in a message, hey, what do you guys think about this? And then people just shit all over it, which is great.
Well, I mean, that's what we need. I literally,
Oh
my
yeah.
call before this
Yeah.
was with with a mentor group that I'm in, and there's
Yep.
four individuals in there that are all taking time to help me get to where I need to go.
Yeah.
And you have to be open to that. And most of the time, it's just going to be shit you don't want to hear that you already know that you should be doing.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and it's it's a superpower, man. I mean, you can get zoom yourself into the future pretty quickly by being next to someone who's, twice your age with 10 times the experience, and having the same morals and outlook.
So what would you say was the defining moment for you that you said, "I need to bring somebody in here. I need to have help."
Yeah. My my dad walked in on me just going at it to a customer who's trying to short me on his bill. And he was like, why are you so mad? He's like, don't you have a contract for this? I'm like, yeah, but it's not that good of a contract. And he's like, you're an idiot, dude. Like, and he's one of those guys, he's like, I send you to collections if you short me $5. Like you just pay your bill. It's not that complicated. And then so I got a good lawyer to write just a solid bulletproof contract. And he had kind of also said like, hey, this business is growing pretty quick. You guys are doing well. You should have someone look over it. And then a good friend of mine who's been in business about 10 years, he introduced me to someone, a coach who actually introduced me to my current coach. And so it was uh, by the grace of God, we avoided something bad. Not really, it wasn't that much money, but at the time it was a lot of money.
Well, yeah, and I mean that's how it all starts is because the first time it's not that much money, but if
Yeah,
you just continue to do the same thing and the
yeah.
jobs get bigger, it becomes a lot of money. And there's a lot of construction companies that close off of one job that goes south that they don't get paid on, and that's it.
Or they don't have their ducks in a row and make an error and their contract and their insurance isn't lined up. I mean, I have friends, just give advice, will ask me business advice, and it seems like everything I tell them is just like a no-brainer, and you just get frustrated. You're just like, how do you not see, like, yes, dude, you have to wrap your trucks. It's not an option. Yes, you have to. But then at the same time, I remember my coach being like, that's a stupid question. Just do it. Like it works. And now it's like now you get I don't even count how many jobs we get because of, wrapped trucks. That's just a low-hanging fruit because I had that conversation recently where it's just like it's a weird. Yes.
Well, it is a low hanging fruit, but how many guys do we still see out there? My wife comments on it about every time we go out, and
Yeah.
she's like, "I don't understand
Yeah.
why there's guys rolling around, and I couldn't even tell you what they do, but I know they're construction workers because look
Yeah.
at them and look at their vehicles, but
Yeah.
there's no." I mean, we used to look at it as our trucks were the biggest billboard we possibly had, whether it's sitting in somebody's driveway or
Oh
going
yeah.
down the highway.
Yeah. Swag. And I think it's this kind of ruffles a little feathers is that I don't think if you're not branded, you're not taking your presence seriously, your online presence seriously, then you're not for homeowners. You're for contractors. You're a good sub, maybe.
Mm,
Because if you don't have anything to lose, then a homeowner has no recourse. And it's not that hard to see between those lines. And it's, the CCB, the contractors board, yeah, they might make a homeowner feel warm and fuzzy, but ultimately they're there to protect the contractor. That's what they're there to do. And so it's very important. I don't know if you follow my big thing on online and on LinkedIn is being a consumer advocate. So I think it's very important uh, to always, I mean, selling and home services, it's a superpower. If you're a good salesman and you're selling a home service, it's a high ticket sale. It's a needed sale usually, unless you're selling luxury bathrooms, but it's like you have to do it. So, that person is inviting a stranger into their house and you should like take it seriously. You should take the business seriously. Um, and if you don't have an online reputation that you're trying to protect, then what is that customer's recourse? How can they, how can they feel comfortable with you? I think it's really important. And I have a lot of really good guys I look up to, mentors I look up to, who are, a guy in a truck sort of operation, and they just don't want to deal with it. I'm like, that's great. But I would say the majority of people who operate like that are, what are you hiding from?
I think they're so I'm a big component of at construction is just business, and we look at it all wrong. Is for some reason we think construction business is different than any other business, and that is not true.
Mhm,
It's a business. Our service we provide just happens to be construction, and you have to treat it fundamentally that way.
mhm.
And what companies are not like, if you start looking around, most companies, sales reps are out and stuff that is got their logo on it. They're wearing stuff that has their logos on it. They're not hiding who they are. They want who they are to lead the conversation.
Yeah.
And I love your analogy. Like, if you don't have any of that shit put together, you're not for homeowners.
Yeah.
You're there to be a sub. And I mean, that's a fine. Some people want to live in that word, but don't be out trying to serve homeowners and not have your shit together, because that's one of the things that gives our industry a bad reputation.
Or
Is
the
that
entire, yeah, from answering the phone. It's like from answering the phone, from all that kind of stuff. It's like I'm my own CMO. I do all the marketing, and I have someone run my click campaigns. I have this, I have that. I don't keep all my eggs in one basket. And it's hilarious how many of these 1099 employees I have, and they just love working with us because it's like, I do all this work for these contractors. I get them all these leads and they don't answer their phone, or like someone doesn't answer the phone and they don't leave voicemails. And I'm like reviewing all these calls and you're just like, what do you, dude? It's just like, what are you doing, man? And I mean, we had a problem on a job site last night, and my, uh, my production director was what, it doesn't matter. I had to do something, and I texted and is what I'm trying to say. And I texted three plumbers, top of Google, right? Top of guys. So they have a good marketing person. One no answer, no call back. The next, he texts me back, sorry, I'm on vacation. And it's like, what? Like vacation? Like, dude, stop advertising. You're just like you're clogging up the pipeline, man. Like, just go away. So I literally, gosh, I can't believe I'm saying, I called roto-rooters out there fixing a water line that we busted. It's
Mm.
because they answered the phone and they were nice and they got out there right away.
It's amazing what answering the phone would do. We've had this conversation on here so many times. But if you don't, they're on to the next. Like,
Yeah.
they're not coming. If you don't answer the phone and it goes to a voicemail, like, that person does not care about you anymore. They
And
are
here's
now on to the next.
And here's the secret. I don't know how your listenership is in their business journey, but when I didn't have a call center and when I wasn't answering the phone, I had an auto reply text message. After three rings, it would hang up, voicemail, and then they get a text message right away. That way they knew we existed and we get it back right back. And it's not like, oh, hey, sorry, I can't hear it. Like, it has to be you can act high level. You can act like a call center very
Mm.
easily if you're still holding a hammer. It's not that hard.
Yeah,
And we
no,
still
I
do the same thing.
absolutely agree with that.
Yeah, yeah. So answering the phone is it's crazy that you have to explain that, but it's the first step.
Well, I mean, to me, it's table stakes. Like that, like it's like having a wrap truck. Like it's like
Or Google Ads. It's like you're not paying for clicks. What do you are you are you even trying?
well, so but that's the thing is most are not. And
Yeah.
here, so our listener, our audience is a wide range from guys just starting up to guys running multi-million dollar organizations. We've had some of them on here as guests.
Yeah.
What amazes me is that, so if you're listening to this right now, you obviously want to be better. Like, you're trying to improve. We have great conversations on here, but the numbers don't lie. It is like less than 1% of people that listen. So if we have 100 people right now listening to this, there is one person that would do something because of this conversation. And that blows my mind.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and if you're, and like I said, always seeking, if you're around people who are, if you're trying to be, I'm always trying to be the stupidest, poorest person in a group. And it's like, you should try to be absorbed that all the time. I'm not, I don't feel adequate in a position, to be like that coach kind of person. But I am executing really quickly, and you have to execute really quickly. And if you're not in those mastermind groups and you're not able to execute super quickly, then you're not going to know what the ROI is until you actually absolutely do something.
Mm.
So
Yeah, because some guys would get around that stuff and never execute, and like that's where the magic's at. Like, is taking that information and doing something with
yep.
it.
Yeah, for sure. Totally. And if you have a good team, you have all those people around you, it's not, you're just managing the execution.
Awesome, man. Well, so what's going on out in the industry right now? What are you seeing? What do you think? I hear Mitch things all the time. I love to get guys on here that are currently in the middle of it right now as we close out 2024 here,
Yeah.
headed into 2025. Where do you see the industry headed?
Home services in particular. Yeah, I think what's interesting is that we're in a very in a very niche trade. It's probably close to you, so it's one of those things where you feel like everyone knows about it, but it's really not the case. It's like I bet you my mother doesn't even know my biggest competitor, and my biggest competitor is one of the largest, in the country. Um, and there's those two above us, and then it's us, and then the people below us are a handful of guys in a truck sort of situation that do great work. But we surpassed them pretty quickly and pretty easily. And those guys my gut is, at least in my specific industry, those guys in a truck sort of companies, I mean, they're getting gobbled up pretty fast. I reached out to one of my competitors about a year ago about buying them because they were doing similar revenue. And we've been talking back and forth for about a year, and now it's like now we're twice as big as them. And I'm just kind of like, all right, I might as well just keep chugging along. Why, like, you're already kind of going away. So I think that idea of, if you're not always seeking, you're not always trying to refine. I mean, it's going to be pretty tough to keep up. It's going to be
I,
really tough to keep up because I got a lot of energy. I'm young and I can take the risk, and I got a little money. So you know what? I'm going to try anything and everything. And I'm just going to just keep going. And it's one of those things. It's like I just like most entrepreneurs in their 30s. I'm an Alex Hermosi fanboy, and it's super true that if you don't quit, you can't lose.
mm-hmm.
Uh, and I have that written in a lot of places in my office. If you don't quit, you can't lose. And it's just like, dude, it's like I ain't gonna lose because I'm not stopping. And it seems to be showing. I mean, it is crazy, especially in waterproofing. It is crazy the amount of people I see getting bought or just disappearing.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty crazy. And I assume that's every industry.
So it's not right now. See that we come up into a great point with consolidation. So
Yeah,
I was there day zero in basement waterproofing when consolidation happened.
yeah,
So people don't like, for anybody listening, there was a big dog split, private equity came in,
yeah,
and that started the consolidation of the basement waterproofing foundation industry.
yeah,
I believe that is going to happen in every industry in construction. We're one of the only, the construction industry is the only space that has never been consolidated.
yep,
I believe there's going to be 3 or 4 players in each market for each
yep,
thing, and everybody else, all those guys you're talking about that might do great work, but they don't want to continue to grow, they're going to go away. They're either going to be forced out of business because they don't have any valuable assets. They don't have an
Absolutely.
online presence. They don't have a customer database. They don't have anything that's worth anything to be acquired. So they won't be acquired, but they will not be able to compete with the 3 or 4 people in the market.
Let me reiterate on that. I had a call with someone in our industry who's a large player in the Chicago area, and he had made some comment. You're talking about Groundworks. I'll just say it. So he had made some comment that
Yeah.
Groundworks is going around knocking on everyone's door and offering them big checks. This was 6 months ago. I had never even heard of Groundworks. They are not in the Northwest at this time. I was like, huh? And he's like, yeah, man, they're massive. And I had looked into them a little bit after that conversation. I was like, oh wow, that's crazy. I'd never heard of them. Within 1 month, they had bought in 2 businesses in Seattle. That within 1 month. And now they're like, I think they have 4 or 5 businesses, 4 or 5 foundation companies in the Seattle area now. And they were not in the Northwest 6 months ago. I mean, I don't even, I'm not gonna speculate on how big those checks were, but the 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 gross multiplier on them is pretty large. And if essentially if you're not getting an offer from them at some point, it's because they just think they're like, why? You're just gonna go away.
Yeah, no, but
It's
and they are, and they set the in I got now I'm gonna rack my mind. So in 20 would have been what, 2018, they set the price. I think 28, yeah, right there. They set the price point for what basement waterproofing and foundation companies were worth.
Mhm.
And it's between a 7 and 11x on
Yeah,
like it. So there's guys cashing out. I
yeah.
know guys that have gotten huge
Yeah.
checks.
Yeah. And
Uh,
if you're not in a position to get that multiplier, it's because the smart money thinks you're just going to disappear in 5 years. So it's not worth it. And it's like I was doing a spot check at one of our jobs the other day, and one of our competitors who I would say we surpassed, and they're great. They've been around 30 years. And we send them work all the time. I think they are very good. She pulled up. Uh, this guy pops out of the crawl space. He is not in anything branded. His vehicle isn't branded, nothing. He's literally driving like a Honda Civic, and they have probably, 5 or 6 crews out there doing work, but their estimators aren't doing this. But it's crazy to think that those kind of cats think they can do things like charge for bids and have some guy show up in just random jeans and a t-shirt, driving a Honda Civic, and they'll just be, oh, we've been in business 30 years, all this kind of stuff. You're just like, dude, if you guys were doing everything right, then I wouldn't have started this. I don't know what to tell you.
But that's what will go away. Like
Yeah,
I believe that the next 5 to 10 years in the construction space
yeah,
is we're going okay. So it happened in home services. I've watched it happen in basement waterproofing and foundation repair. It's literally just started happening in roofing. Like private equity right now cannot buy up. There's just not enough roofing companies for sale for them.
yeah,
And it's not just private equity. I think that's a whole conversation in itself, what this looks like.
yeah,
But it's also it's just consolidation. So when you talk about like a company like Groundworks, who's a
yeah.
national player, and they're just consolidating.
International, I think.
Yeah, yeah, they're in Canada and stuff now at this point in time.
Yeah,
Uh I mean, they're just consolidating stuff under one big entity that's not it wasn't born out of a private equity office just saying we're going to go buy these up. Like these are people that understand the industry and it's like we're going to become a conglomerate nationwide. You have that going to happen in the roofing industry as well, where you're going to have big roofers.
yeah,
Same thing that happened in HVAC. You had big HVAC guys
yeah,
that decided, well, if I can do this locally and kill everybody here, why can't I do it nationally? Like we had Tommy Malo on here, Mr. Garage Door, do
yeah.
270 million in garage doors.
Yeah.
He did it in Arizona and was like, why can't I just do this nationally? I can crush everybody. Went out and got the money to be able to buy up these other companies, and he's built an empire. And
Exactly.
you're going to have that in every industry, I feel, from custom home building to kitchen remodels to whatever it is.
Yeah.
I just believe
Ugh.
the players, there's
Don't
going
even
to
get me
be
on the custom home builders and remodelers. We don't need any more of you. Like,
well, that's what I mean. Like there,
good
I think
Lord, man. How
there,
many $4 million a year remodelers do we need? Like, it's like,
I think what we need is we need about 3 to 5 players in every market
yeah,
that are going to do a good job for a customer. And the low
yeah,
end stuff is going to go away. That they're going to cease to exist.
yeah,
You're going to have premium product, premium customer service,
yeah,
and here are the players that do this.
yeah,
And customers are going to have to choose, and it's going to be on what have you built, and
uh-huh.
how good is your sales team.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome, man. Great conversation. I love it. For
Good.
everybody listening, if they wanted to connect with you, follow you, where's the best places for them to do that?
I personally am most active on my LinkedIn. That's probably the only online presence that I personally do. I have other people do everything else. My LinkedIn, Dylan, like spelled like Bob, Dylan, Milroy, Milroy. And then from there, is the best outward spot.
Awesome, man. Well, thank you for taking the time and being on the show today.
My pleasure. Thanks, dude.
Awesome. All right, construction champions, another episode in the bag. Well, I think we touched on a very, very important point for everybody that's listening to this podcast. As Dylan stated at the beginning, he was hesitant when it came to getting a coach and trying to grow. Well, we talk about it on here all the time, is how you going to go where you want to go without having somebody that can help guide you there. Like before GPS, we had road maps. Wouldn't you like to have that information and then somebody to hold you accountable? I mean, I've been around coaches and consultants my entire life. I'm not one. I'm like Dylan. I relate with him. Like, I don't, it's just not me, but I believe everybody should have one. So I help facilitate the conversation around it. So champions, if you're that guy right now, look down at your shirt. If it's not logoed up, or if you're, getting ready to walk in for lunch or go to a job site and you're going to turn around and your vehicle looks like every other one in the parking lot, I want to challenge you to where are you going to be in the next 3 to 5 years? Because there's a lot of big things happening in construction, and you might just go away if you don't start working on it now. So, champions, make sure you go out and you check out all of our fantastic sponsors. And until next time, be the champion you were meant to be.
Ever found yourself revisiting a project because of a small miscommunication? It's frustrating and costly. That's why I switched to BuilderComms. Their construction communication management solution cuts through the noise, ensuring my team is always on the same page. Now, missteps are rare and rework is a thing of the past. Ready to streamline your projects? Check out BuilderComms today.
Hey, construction champions, it's your host, Ron Nussbaum here, and I want to talk to you about how you can automate all of your marketing. We've had so many people on here talk about getting the systems in place. Well, we have partnered with Build 12 and Construction Champions podcast. Les O'Hara, the founder, what really excites me is his 30 years in the industry. And now he's built a system to be able to nurture your leads and continue to utilize that. I personally use the system myself. Build 12 is absolutely amazing. There's a lot of value in there, and it's a way to start getting away from Angie's List and all of that kind of stuff and start actually creating your own leads every day and have a system for them. So go on our website, check out the show notes, go check out Build 12 and what it can do for the front end of your business today. It's absolutely amazing. I highly recommend going and meeting with Les and his son, Devin, and talking to him about what they built for their own business, so the rest of the industry can take benefit from that. Here on Construction Champions, we're all about helping each other out. And what is better than contractors helping contractors? I say nothing. So let's go take this to the next level. Go check out Build 12. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me or Les or his son, Devin. We're here to help. We want to continue to grow the industry.